Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Lorcana, your weekly Lorcana talk show on Monday night. My name is Brandon, also known as B24. I am one of the co-hosts for Let's Talk Lorcana, but we have our main host here, the Illuminateers, only half of them though. Liam, I feel like this is a normal segment.
It is
Aaron,
now.
putting the baby down. Hopefully she'll be by at some point. But super excited to talk with you this week. We've got an exciting show planned with some amazing guests. This is basically Archazia Island's release week. Archazia Island is releasing this weekend, so we're going to talk about that. There's been some interesting developments for the OP League program. I guess I think that's a little bit redundant, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some rules changes and a couple other things. So excited to get into that. Hello to everybody in the live chat. We see you guys typing there. Shout out to everybody that joins us live on these Mondays. We appreciate all of you. But before we get into a lot of that, Liam, I wanted to ask how your weekend was.
My weekend was both happy and sad, both wonderful and sad. I for those, I know you're asking because I got to do something cool this weekend. But I want to say right up front, the sad part is, Erin and I do this as a team, and it just so happened that due to work stuff, she couldn't travel with me this weekend. So I ended up traveling alone over to Florida to a really fun event. It was kind of a mini con. Miami TCG Con, those of you know, has leaned pretty hard into Lorcana the last few years with these big events. They had a tournament the first year with 200 folks run by PPG, and last year they had 26 Lorcana artists. And the owner was kind of Eric Gonzalez, who's a fantastic supporter of Lorcana, was kind of bummed that there were so many artists he wanted to work with and just didn't have a chance because of space and all that. So started doing these mini cons. This was the first one in West Palm, and smaller venue, but brought in a bunch of vendors and then 4 Lorcana artists and 2 Disney animators. There's a bit of overlap there because one of the Lorcana artists is a Disney animator. And it was a ton of fun getting to hang out with them in that small venue. So I think it was announced this weekend that he's doing his next one in May. So if you're in Florida or can travel to the West Palm area, I think the first weekend in May is when the next one's going to be, and there'll be 4 artists there too, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I haven't been to that area for a year or two since Miami TCG Con, but I do remember, back then when they brought in a bunch of artists and stuff, it was super fun. And pretty much every experience that I've had with Lorcana artists has been great, and they do some like really awesome sketches and things, and we'll sign cards. It's super, super cool to meet the people kind of behind, like, I can't speak for everybody, but like one of the things that drew me into the game was the art, right? The Disney art. So it's really cool to meet the people, that sort of bring this game to life, I guess.
Yeah. No, you couldn't have said it any better. Like the art, to me at least, and is what makes Lorcana. And without it, it would just be, mechanics. And so these people who put, so much time, effort, and energy into bringing this game to life, it's just a pleasure to chat with them and get to see the faces behind the art. I have a couple of stories to tell, but I have a little bit of some goodies that I spent way too much money on, but I'd love to
show them off.
Yeah, I kind of, because I think they're cool and they have some applicability to Lorcana. I'm going to switch cameras here. I think there we go.
Yeah.
But this way you can see them. I want to start with this one. This is so Lorcana artist and Disney animator Tom Bancroft was there. A fantastic artist, and he, as you all may have heard, he's the one doing Mushu in the next set, the artist that's bringing that to life. And that's super relevant because Tom Bancroft was the artist responsible for bringing Mushu to life in the film. So this is Tom Bancroft's drawing. This is an original drawing that was used in the scene where Mushu is bringing the Great Stone Dragon to life. And on the side here, you can see some of the timing marks. But this is from the film. And so it's really cool. Yeah. I don't know. It's cool to see this in person and then to know that he was the one who drew our Mushu in Lorcana. So yeah, it's pretty neat. But I was excited to get that. I shouldn't have, but I did. And there's 2 more, which I couldn't decide between these 2, and I ended up getting them both, but I'll show them.
That's the way to do it. When you can't decide, just get both.
I know, it's bad being a collector. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, here we go. So this is also from the film. I just like the expression on Mulan's face, but this is by Mark Henn. another Disney animator. Those of you in Lorcana may recognize him. I believe he did the Mickey Mouse card from the D100 set.
Okay.
And so another, famous Disney animator. And so that piece was cool. And then this one I just thought was fun. This is not a screen use piece, but it was from the concept stage of The Lion King, where Mark Henn was drawing, trying to get the concept for this scene down. And so he got, they were trying to figure out where to position the characters and their Scar in relation to Simba. And anyway,
I love this scene in the movie too, when Simba's talking, he's just like, "You're weird," and then Scar's like, "You have no
you're
idea."
so weird.
I feel like it's a reflect. I want to use that for the Lorcana community sometimes. I feel like it's appropriate.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, thanks for letting me do some show and tell. It was fun, and it was. I also have to say it was. Share this too. It's always fun hanging out with the artists, but the moment that I really enjoyed, and the moments that I really enjoyed, were seeing some of the younger Lorcana artists who grew up on Disney get to meet and interact with Tom Bancroft as a peer.
Oh man,
because to Whitney and Eris, two of the artists that were there, Whitney Pollitt, and then Eris, who did Maleficent and then the new Honey Lemon. They grew up on these films, and they both have stories about watching Pocahontas or some of Tom Bancroft's other work and being inspired to become an artist themselves. And they, seeing them sitting at the table right next to Tom now as peers, where he was the one that inspired them, there were some really magical moments that happened, and it was pretty incredible. So it was a lot of fun.
That's something that I really appreciate hearing those stories, because I remember a year or two ago when the first chapter came out, and I think you had Luis Huerta and Nicholas Cole on the show really early on, and it was really cool to hear Luis talk about how Nicholas Cole was somebody that he really looked up to as an artist, and sort of being able to work alongside these people that sort of influence these artists to pursue being an artist as a job. And so it's always cool to see their success, and then always, I don't know, there's something special about I'm sure there's something really fulfilling about reaching that, right, where you get to work with somebody as a peer that you've looked up to all your life.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's one of the fun things about Lorcana, is bringing all these artists together. If I could tell one more story, because I love this and I think people would appreciate it. But Eris, whose last name I'm really bad at pronouncing, but he has two cards right now, Maleficent and Honey Lemon, is not a professionally trained artist. Eris is a teacher by trade who is self-taught, did a lot of art on his own, looked up to these artists, wanted to become an artist, and so did a lot of training and drawing and everything else. And like a lot of other hobbyists, posted a lot of his work on Instagram. And the Lorcana creative team, reached out to him from there, and he became an artist. So now he's a professional Lorcana artist, doing sketches on cards, etc., and living his dream through just sheer perseverance and working hard during his spare time. And striving for this thing while he's teaching full time, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's super inspiring of a story.
Yeah. So follow him on Instagram, and everybody, if you're into sketched cards and stuff, he's doing some really fun ones. And reach out to him, and he'll do some stuff.
Did you get any signed or sketched cards while you were there this weekend, other than just the prints?
I spent too much money on the prints, so I didn't get many. But I did have to get a sketch by Tom Bancroft. So I did get a Tom Bancroft sketched D23 Oswald. And then
oh man,
I know, I couldn't help
I
myself.
love that card.
Yeah, I just couldn't help myself. And then I got a couple others signed by him as well. I always do this thing. I love signed cards, but then I like having signed copies, and I like having clean copies. But I had him sign every Oswald that I own, because I don't know, the overlap with Disney animation and with Lorcana, I think, is super fun. And he's like a celebrity outside of Lorcana. So, but those are the only ones that I got signed while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I got more, but they were also so busy.
Were they? Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. Were there a lot of people trying to meet the artists and get stuff signed while you were there?
There were, there were quite a few. And the other thing that contributed to their busyness was CGC has recently started doing something for card games called their Signature Series. And
Mhm.
they have really fun special labels where before this, PSA, the grading company, was the only one doing signature authentication. So CGC, along with their Signature Series, is now doing this thing where you can place orders on their websites for in-person signings. And so when we got there this time, CGC had a whole bunch of boxes set up for folks who had placed orders with them. So the artist had to get to work right away on fulfilling those orders. And then CGC was going to package them up and then take them off and get them slabbed with their label and authenticated and then shipped off to the customers. So
Mhm.
if you like signed cards and you like slabs, if you're in that Venn diagram,
Yeah.
that's something you can look out for. So when we sat down on the first day, all of the artists were handed like a bunch of boxes to get right to work. And then throughout the day, people came up and requested other stuff. But they're all, I mean, what happens in these shows is, one person will get a sketch done and then, somebody else will see it or it'll get posted online and then other people want it. And so it's always
Mhm.
funny because you get this rush in the beginning of people who like want to get to the front of the line and then it dies down a little bit and then word starts to spread. And as the show goes on, it just like goes crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. But I do wish Aaron and Elena had been able to join us because they're also really good friends with Peter
Mhm.
Raimondo and Whitney Pollitt and these artists. So it would have been nice to have the family there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot harder when you have to travel without the family.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
but thanks for asking about the weekend. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to hear about it. I know that there are exciting events over there, and if you're not following the Illuminateers on their socials, I saw you posting a little bit about it throughout the weekend, and wanted to hear about it like on stream or off stream. I was going to ask you, but figured it was Lorcana related, so why not talk about
Yeah.
it? You know?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And yeah, again, for anybody who's interested in this, like check out the Miami TCG socials. The next MiniCon will be in May. I think we're going to try to head down. So if you're interested in the artists that they have listed and you want us to get cards signed, for you, let us know and we'll, you can ship them to us. And we'll try to get that done. Or keep an eye out on CGC's website for that. So yeah,
All right.
cool. Can I know we need to get in news. Can I mention one more
Yeah.
thing randomly? I have been meaning to do this for a while, but I thought I mentioned it at the start of the show and get it over with. But we, Aaron and I like kind of soft launched a Patreon recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never done it before, and but some people have been asking about ways to support and truth in lending. The channel is not cheap to run. So especially when you pay for editors and stuff. So we soft launch Patreon. If anybody's interested, we expect nobody to join. But it's there. Yeah, the one thing I want to make clear though is like we are big believers in providing access to free content. And so
Mhm.
the way we've designed the tiers, like we're very, very clear. And I think the tiers are clear that we're not paywalling any Lorcana content behind a
Mhm.
paywall. The only thing what we're trying to do for our supporters is do things like let them vote on upcoming content or giving them insights into behind the scenes, video prep or shout outs. And then for some of the higher tiers, we want to, send stickers or stuff periodically or postcards or things in the mail. So yeah. So if you enjoy our channel, like don't think you have to be a Patreon supporter to get any of our content. Like it's all going to be still like free and it's the same access that you've had the whole time. But all it's going to be is like some of that behind the scenes stuff. So yeah. So if you enjoy our stuff, don't feel like you have to you're missing anything by not supporting us. You're not. It's still the free same content, but it's just a way to support us if you're so inclined. So
Yeah, don't forget, be sure to put the link somewhere if it's not in the description already, so that people can join. Because I think there's probably going to be some people interested. I don't know about you guys, but I consume a lot of content that's not typical subscription like Netflix, uh, Hulu type of stuff. I usually spend a lot of time watching live streams or YouTube videos or things like that, and um, extra content or not, it's always kind of nice to give a little bit to help support people, or I like to give a little bit to help support people that I enjoy. They put a lot of time and effort into their content. Like you said, nobody, it's certainly not anything anybody has to do, but I know you guys work super hard and you spend a lot of money to make the content. And so nothing wrong with, giving people a way to support you, more than anything.
I appreciate that. But it feels awkward talking about that. So I appreciate it.
Well,
Okay.
we can move on if you want to. We can
Let's
either
do it.
bring in one of our new guests, or we can talk real quick about Archazia Island. I'm happy with either one of those.
Well, really quickly, I just did a lot of talking. Really quickly for you, before we bring in our first guest, what are you excited about this weekend? Like, I don't know. Are you ready for Arcadia's Island?
I'm excited to open packs, if I'm being honest with you. Want something? I'm going to try not to spend too much time talking about this because I could. But I know that the community is really waiting for like more events and like worlds announcements, DLCs, things like that to go to. And for a long time, we had, I guess it was 6 DLCs, basically one a month, just about, at least in North America. And you and I having the privilege of being able to go and help commentate those, it was awesome that we were able to go there. But it also means we were kind of on for like, every set every month, and we just kind of had to like stay on top of everything for Lorcana to try and like do our jobs well. So there's a part of me that's actually kind of enjoying like just getting to sit back and absorb this set without having to like dive headfirst into it immediately and like study everything and try and find the most broken stuff. Like there's a draft that I'll be going to on Saturday. I've looked over all the cards obviously through reveals and stuff, but I'm really excited to just kind of open them all, look at them, find cards that interest me and build decks with them, and kind of have fun while I can with that,
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, and that's awesome. It does feel like a break. Oh, I have to ask though, since you mentioned not diving in and being able to ignore things a little bit and just enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you making that trip in a couple weeks?
I'm more on the side of yes than no, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Caroline in the green room is screaming at me yes, but because she talked to me earlier today about making it, so I want to try to go. I'm really trying to balance the like giving myself some time to not burn out of the game, but also I never get to play in tournaments, man. So like
Yeah.
this is one of the few times there's a tournament close to me, so I might as well take that advantage. So I'm like 90% sure I'm going to end up going. I don't know what I'm going to take yet. We'll figure that out after I
Yeah.
get the cards in my hand.
I totally think you should go selfishly because I want to hang out with you. What we're talking about, in case anybody isn't following or hasn't watched our previous shows, is in 2 weeks, the Hunter Burton Memorial Lorcana Tournament, second annual Lorcana Tournament, will be happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a great charity event that's dedicated towards suicide prevention, and it's a big it's a big Magic tournament. Lorcana is just coming along, but the field will be pretty competitive. You'll see a lot of names that you recognize there. Aaron Rubin is last year's winner. Yeah, 20 lore. Aaron Rubin won last year. Who else?
I think Zayn Syed is heading down there and Jeremy Bear, Tirioni. Last I heard, they were at least, and a couple people from Atlanta over there.
That's gonna be big. Bobby Break, Kaijudo world champion, usually plays because he's local to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know Hal Brady will be there, I think, doing some commentating. And then and if you like him from Lorcana, I think Tan and Grace will be there commentating the Magic tournament as well, so he'll be around. So it should be a fun little event if you're in the Dallas area, and you can come hang out with Brandon and I, because Brandon will absolutely be there.
I'll be there.
No pressure. Yeah, I'd forgotten to talk about that, but you're like kind of ignore the meta thing. I was like, oh man, I hope he comes.
Yeah, I'm like, if I'm going to be completely transparent, it'll be one of those tournaments that I will prepare for the moment that I'm 100% like, yes, I'm going, but primarily like once cards are in hand. But I know I'm not prepared near as much as like some of the big names. Like I expect Aaron Rubin's and a lot of those people to have already been prepared. Like I know these guys are already testing with set 7 cards with test cards and things like that. They already know way more than I do about the set. It's going to be me showing up with a deck that I think is good, and we're just going to go and play and try to have a good time, and honestly hang out with some friends while we're there probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's honestly, I think that's the way to do it. Give yourself a break and then, dive in when you know. And yeah, but anyway, I just hope we get to hang out.
Yeah.
Because it'll feel like a DLC in a way.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, sorry, I promise we'll get to our guests.
Yeah.
But with no DLCs in the future, I want to take an opportunity to like see you guys when I can, see as much of the Lorcana community as I can. So, if for no other reason, that's a good reason to go.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can't go, I should have mentioned this before. 20 Lore Pro is both the tournament organizer and streaming it. So on 20 Lore Pro's Discord or Twitch, you'll be able to watch the tournament and the commentary there, and it'll be a great field and a fun day, and your first chance to kind of see, I think, the best players go at it on the new meta. So. So there's that. I just got to watch Sapphire. Like, it's just a sea of Sapphire.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of. It's like, what do I bring? Because it's probably just Sapphire, and I just play Sapphire all day. But hey,
yeah,
we'll see.
First turn Bell every turn. It's a first turn Bell again. Yeah.
There's a tournament this weekend. I don't remember where and who it's with, but I'm interested to see the data that comes out of that, because I'm sure it'll affect whatever happens at Hunter Burton. But we'll see.
Oh, is this Southside Gaming?
Might be Southside Gaming. That's what we're told in the green room. Chat can correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah. Another fun one to watch. All right.
Well, yeah. So
that's fun.
Outside of competitive, there, as we mentioned earlier in the show, there were some changes to the Archazia's Islands. What is this called? OP kit instructions, which is basically just the league that everybody's been doing. So I think it's really important to highlight both aspects of this game, because we've got all kinds of players and collectors that appreciate Disney Lorcana. And for a lot of people, they can't make tournaments like Hunter Burton or DLCs or things like that. And so local leagues is kind of all they have, and I'm interested to hear from some the audience and also some of our guests about their thoughts for some of the changes as we go through them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna say, full disclosure, I've been busy and I've been traveling, and I have not had a chance to read most of these some of these changes. So I'm glad we have somebody who has. I don't know. So speaking of commentating and challenges and all that, I'm excited to welcome in Rebekah from Rebekah Quests.
Hey!
Hi!
It's almost like a challenge right here.
Right?
Yeah, we've almost got the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Text the others, be like,
I hope you do go, Brandon, to the tournament, just because, like you said, who knows when the next challenge will be or whatever. So yeah, it sounds like a lot of people are going to be there. So it would be fun.
Yeah. It'd be exciting. It'd be fun to see everybody for sure.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
The Three Musketeers. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch, by the way. I feel like I have to do that every week now. There's 9 of you out there.
I said last week we'd get on top of the Twitch stuff, and then forgot until today again. So
destroyed my life.
We'll figure it out eventually, I promise.
Destroyed my life. But there it is. But there's 9. So shout out to you 9 hanging out there. Appreciate that. Yeah, so some league changes. I'm not gonna lie. I saw people talking about them. I kind of skimmed the surface. But I know it was a big deal. I know there were some big changes. I have no idea what they were.
Well, the first thing you have to know is there is no more league.
Oh,
that's the first thing. It's not called league anymore. There's no more league.
We're already wrong. Okay.
Already wrong.
Oh, goodness.
So, they're calling it weekly play and league. I talked about this on my Instagram account, but league was earning and accumulating points over a period of time for prizes. And so that's what's going away, is no more points at all. There's no more points, no more accumulating points for wins or quests or wearing Disney or anything like that. That's totally gone away. It's now weekly play, and that stores can host whatever type of event they want each week. So it can be constructed, it can be pack rush. You could do any kind of fun theme night that you want, any kind of restrictions, which I think is really fun, leaves it open for a lot of different things. And then prizes are, they encourage stores to give like booster packs based on performance and wins each week, but that the prizes that come in the kit, in the OP kit, so your promo cards, your pins, and all of that jazz should be randomly given to folks based on like a raffle or what have you. So very different structure here compared to what the OP kit had before. And I think it's a lot of really, really great changes. Personally, I think there are still, of course, stores can run things however they want and all that, but I think this does give stores a little bit more flexibility, doesn't put such a focus on the wins, which I think is what a lot of people had a struggle with before, to how we can make weekly league, but not weekly play, more open for all types of players. So yeah, but it is a big change, and no more league. Don't call it league.
League is gone.
League is gone.
Great.
Yeah, I kind of like the weekly approach to that for a couple reasons. I remember hearing some complaints about. I know Ravensburger tried to implement more. I'm going to call it casual format. I don't know if that's really the right like terminology, but with a lot of the quests and stuff that you could do, right, by like doing certain things with certain cards in your deck or wearing Disney merch or things like that to accumulate more points. But I felt like more than anything, it just kind of turned into people just bringing their best decks and trying to win, because that was the fastest way to accumulate points, right? And kind of like max out your points for the week, which according to the old league play rules, it was supposed to be a bit more of a casual event, right? Or at least that was the thing they were trying to hit. And I feel like that sort of messed it up a little bit. So I kind of appreciate this weekly take where like you're not really punished for missing a week of league if you can't show up. You can kind of come and go whatever is beneficial to you, and you're not really missing out on anything other than potentially, I mean, so long as the weekly play is ran based on the rules, like you mentioned, leagues are, I'm going to keep calling them leagues. Stores can run it however they want, but you're really only missing out on like a raffle, right? And some booster packs if they are using that as prizing, like it recommends in the instructions.
Yeah, and like you said, Brandon, I think someone else said it, Stephen, in a comment, is the attendance thing. I think that's another really
so hard.
Such a good benefit of this new way of hosting weekly play is that if you miss one week for whatever reason, you fell so far behind in points to earn prizes at the end of the round or the season or whatever. And so I really appreciate that, because I don't know of many stores that were allowing players to make up points. Our league tried to do that at one point to try to make it more fair, but it didn't work, and so I think that's another really good benefit of this new way of hosting weekly play.
I totally agree. Going to league night for us, especially with a toddler and all that, became a huge challenge. We used to go before Oli was born, but it's a huge lift to go, especially with where LGS is located. And it always felt like going once off. I mean, it was kind of fun, but it was kind of a waste because we were never going to. I mean, the points we accumulated in a week didn't mean anything. So yeah, it felt like if there was like every time we were like, maybe we should go tonight. I realized, well, it's like week 3 of a 4-week league, and it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you felt like an outsider.
It's like whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say the only thing I don't like is because it's a raffle or a random, however you're going to hand out the pins and promo cards, is that, just exactly what this comment is talking about, is trying to spread the prizes to as many people as possible, I think is nice. And if you're doing it a raffle each week, well, then you always have kind of the same chance of or winning one of those prizes. And if you go to a larger league, then your chances are going to be much lower. So I do know of a league that said that they were doing this before, and that if somebody won a raffle, they would take their name out.
Yeah.
And then even the next week, they would leave those names out of the people who had already won something. I thought that was a really great way to kind of fix that, or so to speak. But that's the only bad thing that I could see about doing it this way.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. I saw Cypher mention in the chat that he's a big proponent for like walking away with something, like everybody walking away with something. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's super important, especially for like people coming in for the first time and people who are new, to kind of like walk out with something. And I know they do have the, what is it, the lore counter, the bell lore counter for like new players.
For new players.
But I think it's still good. Like, it is time out of people's day to run by league and play, and some leagues charge based on what they're doing. And I imagine that since the recommended prize structure will be prize packs, there's going to be some entry fee to a lot of these leagues. These whatever they're called.
OP stores.
Harder to break than Mulligan.
Yes.
And I think it's important for people to walk away with anything. And we have a really small league at the place at the LGS that I play at. And so we've been able in the past to just sort of, everybody gets a promo that shows up because they gave us enough promos that we can kind of do that. And it's really nice because everybody can kind of collect all 4 promos if you show up. And if you miss a week, we can kind of do that. But I am afraid that it might be a little bit harder, like you mentioned, Rebekah, to do that, and wonder how that might change weekly play, for people, and maybe incentives of coming by or not.
Yeah. I think, like you said, if the stores continue to offer other prizes based on performance, like booster packs or whatever, store credit, I think you're still going to have people showing up for that reason, and that the raffles just kind of help spread it out a little bit more for the folks who aren't as competitive. So it'll be nice to see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Weekly league challenge.
Weekly league challenges. Weekly league challenge stores.
Store events. Yes. This reminds. I used to say, North American Challenge Championship.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, yes. Before we knew the official name.
Say all the words.
Some of those will be right.
What do you guys think about the ink pins, though? That's different too.
Oh right, don't we get
ink pins?
So there's no longer there's no longer like the just Lorcana pin, right? We've got 2 character pins and then the ink symbol. I really like the ink symbol. I think those. Oh my gosh, cool.
I want that pin so much. It looks so cool.
I try very hard not to care a lot about the pins because I already collect cards, which is expensive. I don't need to do pins on top of that and spend even more money on that. And especially because they can't be earned by performance, it's just so much less convenient to try to collect them all because you have to find them or buy them and have somebody ship them to you. But I really like them. I like that they're doing the dual ink pins with Bolt and Mad Hatter and kind of leaning into that. I hope that that's something that they continue to do for this next 4 sets coming up, or future sets at least, because I think it'd be cool. I like them.
Yeah, I have to admit that I think I'm more excited about the ink pins than I have been about any of the other pins that they've done, any of the character pins. I don't know why.
Really? I feel like people so self-identify with inks that it's just to have the, the ink that you really like, the logo of the pin would be so nice.
I want all of them. And I think for me, it's the character pins are really big. And then also it's it's very specific, this character and who I am, like that character, this character, but that the ink logos, the symbols, just are really more representative of the game as a whole, Lorcana, not just this specific character, which I think is really fun. So
I'm still mad that the only Stitch pin is an Emerald pin. Why'd they have to do it that way?
Ariel pin reigns supreme. Yeah, a lot of Ariel pin fans here. I kind of agree with you. I actually really like the idea of like repping your ink.
Yeah.
And even use them as like a mood. You go to League one day and you're feeling ruby,
Right?
or
Yes.
or you're feeling amber.
It's like another layer of mind games. Like, people will show up with
Right.
a certain color deck box or card sleeves, trying to
Mm,
like trick their
yeah.
opponents. It's like, yeah, I'm wearing an amber pin today. Maybe I'm playing amber. You don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of I don't know why my brain's flashing back to Pokemon Go. Everybody's repping their team, yellow, blue, red. The other reason I the amber pin being first makes me laugh because at least where I was, like, I think, like, I don't know, 40% of the people were team red, like 50% of the people were team blue, like Valor and whatever. And nobody played Instinct. Nobody played
Yeah.
yellow. And so if you were on the yellow team in Pokemon Go, you were proud of it and you put it on your put stickers on your car, and I don't know. So yeah, I wonder if people were supposed to, or do you use these to rep their favorite ink color, what the spread's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they're supposed to only go to like people that the store wants to recognize, like as being part of the community. They're not supposed to be raffled off like the other pins. So that's another thing that's really interesting that they've changed or added to the OP kit, as well as recognizing. Like, I hope that stores will maybe save these to give to like their judges for set champs. I think that would be really
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be amazing.
Or if there's like people in your community that are helping put on events, like Daniel and Lily, hosting like those events for families and kids, like just people who are doing extra stuff to support the community. I think it's nice to give stores a way to recognize people like that.
I agree. Also, shout out to all my Team Instinct, my fellow Team Instinct in the chat. Kudos to all you. You are all people of good taste. Did we talk about the Buy a Box promo?
We haven't. No.
We didn't.
Because that's new as well. Well, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's
Bucky, R.I.P.
Yeah. For those who remember back to last set, the stores did receive Bucky, the new Bucky, the errated version of Bucky in their promo kits. But the instructions on what to do to those came rather late, and so a lot of stores scrambled, and there was some confusion. And this time we know well in advance that there's 32 Kronks laid back promo cards that are specifically for Buy a Box promos, and this is great that the store does this, because this is a way to encourage folks. If getting the cards early is not enough to make you want to support your LGS, this is a way that LGSs can promote in-store purchases rather than people going to big box stores, etc. So this is a way for Ravensburger, again, to help out local game stores, which is where the rubber really meets the road when it comes to spreading Lorcana. And this show, in addition to this show,
it's also up to the store's discretion on how many promos they hand out per box, right? Like if you buy 2 boxes, but you only get 1 promo, or you get 2 promos because you bought 2 boxes. So anybody that's interested in getting a Kronk Buy a Box promo and is getting anything from your store, be sure to check that, or at least reserve your box or anything first. That way you don't show up and they end up running out or something because you weren't aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Kronk, right? Yeah, Kronk laid back.
Kronk laid back, the Amethyst Emerald Dual Link card. One of the Dual Link cards for the set.
That's right.
Let me pull that up here because it's just fun. These are all, I really enjoy these promos.
I think it says Ward. It's like super small in the, there you go.
Oh yeah, with Ward.
If in fact would cause you to discard 1 or more cards, you don't discard.
And fun art. I really like the promos this set, I think. Let's go over here. Snow White is beautiful.
Oh, the Snow White, so good.
Right?
Yep.
Also notable, they changed the promo symbol for these as well.
Yes, it's the gyrosphere. Yeah, so the gyrosphere, they have said, is the official logo for organized play. And then the little like triangle or whatever the other one is like event promos and other things. So.
Yeah, we do have another question in the chat here about the text box color. And I think what we're referring to here.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that background. Yes, the background's different.
A little
and then you have this, I don't know what this color denotes here on the side.
Just part of the promo framing, I guess.
Yes.
Interesting. I had not noticed that before with the promos. And it has like the lore symbol like behind the text. Can you tell that?
Yeah.
Can you see that? That's cool. I hadn't noticed that either. Oh, you know what that blue is? It's the like scroll from Archazia's Island that's on the packaging.
Oh my goodness.
With the writing. That's what that is. It's the scroll.
That's a good call. And that's bonkers cool because now these are aesthetically like linked to this set.
Yeah.
Which is because, in the future, people are going to stumble into these promos and, you're going to have to figure out whether it's, set 1, 2, 3, 4. Super cool. I wonder if there's
very thematic.
I wonder if there's going to be like a story element. I don't know. They're probably just the most beautiful cards. Can I tell an artist story? Because I do think this is fun. No, I think it's fun. Nobody else is going to care, but I'm going to tell it anyway. This artist here on Snow White, Mario, and I'm really bad at his last name, begins with an M. Way back in 2023, we had the privilege to go to Lightbox, and which is an artist convention. And Lorcana had come out at that point, and the art was everywhere. And while we were there, we got the chance to go to a panel of Lorcana artists describing concept art. Well, we recorded those, and I think we had the only recordings that we were using for various things, and they're archived away. We didn't post them or anything. And there were 1 or 2 people that emailed us asking for access to those because they wanted to learn more about the concept art process. One of them was Luis Huerta, Lorcana artist who wanted to get into that. And the other one was this gentleman, Mario, who was an artist, but like really wanted to get into Lorcana. And he was like, I'm doing Lorcana fan art on Instagram, and I'm trying to study the art and I'm trying to learn. Can you send me those videos so that I can learn more about the Lorcana creative process? Because I really want to be a Lorcana artist. And I was like, yeah, man, cool. Send them off. And you get requests like that all the time. I mean, there's so many people making art who say they want to be a Lorcana artist. And when his name came out on this card, I was blown away because
that's so cool.
I feel like I got to see the
story.
Whole, and it just made me so happy. And this is probably one of my favorite pieces in the set with these like steampunky robot animals. So super cool. All right. That's my story. Anyway, what did we miss on this?
Love it.
I think
there's a pre-release event that they talk about too.
Oh yeah.
The store launch event, they're calling it. Organized play store launch event. So
not pre-release.
They're kind of not pre-release, sorry, launch event. They are push. It's interesting, even with like the weekly play, I've noticed between the weekly play and then the store launch event that they're really pushing Pack Rush a lot. Have you noticed
really
that?
are. They over the past couple of months, they've been really pushing the format.
So they're encouraging stores to do a launch event with Pack Rush, which, that's fine. Our store does sealed every release, which they're still going to do.
Yeah. I think the reason the focus is on Pack Rush, I personally do like sealed better. Pack Rush is fun. Sealed, there's a bit more creativity involved. It's a cost thing though. I mean, with this, you're encouraging, you can use 2 packs, and if players are coming in and the cost to run the event is largely the product price, this is a lower barrier to entry, where with sealed, we're using 4 packs for sealed, or do you use 6?
6 packs for sealed.
6. Yeah, that becomes
extra draft.
Yeah, that becomes pricey. But
I suppose doing a Pack Rush, I guess, is if you're really trying to attract new players, casual players, then doing a Pack Rush launch event is going to be maybe more appealing than doing a sealed or draft event. So maybe that is also.
I definitely think.
Yeah, that lower bar to entry.
I definitely think it's more approachable for newer players or anybody interested, because each of you get 2 packs, you sit down and you play. I don't love it, if I'm honest, because I was kind of already doing this. And I think it's nice for a store to have a like organized, dedicated, like official event. It's like, hey, we're doing Pack Rush at this time, for that reason, because it's a lot easier for people to come in and try it if they don't know what Lorcana is, or when you give it a try, it's a lot easier than draft or sealed. But I do just love the idea of like an actual pre-release where there's like some form of sealed or draft or limited thing that happens, whether that's you get a random like pre-constructed 30 cards and a handful of packs, and you fill out the deck, or if it's just a draft or sealed and you just open a bunch of packs and build a deck out of that. I think
or starter deck, a lot of stores will do
even
starter
that.
decks for launch.
Yeah, like I just think that stuff is super fun.
Yeah.
And
Mo has never played sealed. Did you see that?
I see Mo's going for sealed.
Mo has never played sealed.
Yeah,
So much fun. I love sealed.
I
saw a comment.
Limited.
I saw a comment that somebody said, "Oh, I don't know that they're supporting limited a lot," and I actually think we're going to start to see more support for limited, because in some of the stuff that they've put out about the new platform that's coming, the Ravensburger Play Network, they've specifically call out draft and sealed formats. So I think that we're going to start seeing more support for limited as time goes on.
I would love to see that, because I think there's a large community out there that really likes limited, that
huge.
Just kind of like they don't really have much outside of just organizing that stuff on their own. And there's just not a lot of attention on it from Ravensburger, it doesn't look like. So that'd be really great.
Yeah.
How many packs come in the Lilo gift set?
4. 1 from the past 4 sets, I think. I'm almost positive.
Oh, that's right.
There's nothing. You don't get any Archazia Island packs. It's Azure IC, however many packs back.
It's like almost like a lunch little box. Almost.
Yeah, you could do a chaos draft.
That's what I was thinking. Imagine what a format, right? The gift set chaos format.
I will say chaos drafts are super fun. Like that's the last draft event that I did a couple weeks ago. And don't get me wrong, like drafting a set is really fun. But there can be some like inconsistencies within the sets, right? Like there's certain archetypes or typal things that like aren't fully fleshed out because they're waiting to release the rest in the next set, or they tease some of it in the set before, so you don't really have the whole package there. And a chaos draft doesn't really fix that, but what it does do is it opens you up to like so many more possibilities for a deck and like combos and just like pulling really cool cards to play with. So yeah, if anybody's thinking about doing that, that's a great idea.
So everyone is saying that it comes with 5 packs. So sets 2 through 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you actually get 5 packs. So all you have to do is buy one more pack for Archazia's Island, and you could do Chaos Sealed.
Oh yeah,
Chaos Sealed. Be super fun. I'm loving this. I'm sensing a video.
There you go.
Here. That's super fun. I kind of love it. I will say, people talking about support for limited. First, every time we talk about limited, I have to shout out 40born, RIP, that podcast. Fantastic limited podcast. You should check those folks out. And if you like it, they're not podcasting right now, but they have an awesome Discord server where they still talk about limited stuff because they can't help themselves.
They still play. Like this past weekend, they did some sort of limited thing over there. So
yeah, love them to death. Somebody in the chat, tell them we shouted them out. But or in their Discord server. But no, I think it's interesting because when you do design sets, it's very difficult. So shout out to the design team to think about, all kinds of different formats that you're designing for. And I think one of the complaints that people had and that 40born had when they stopped, their podcast was it felt that limited wasn't being supported as much, not only in the way they encouraged these formats, but also in set design, and that they were very focused on creating a healthy competitive environment, and that limited formats suffered a little bit. And it's very, 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 and I will say it's very, 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 very difficult to design for multiple formats at the same time. But I agree with something you all said, which is I think we are seeing more in the official rules and stuff, support for and shout outs to limited formats, especially Rebekah, like you said, with the with a new app they have coming out, or the platform. And then I also think in some of the card design, we're seeing more support for limited. So I think we're moving in that direction. And I really, really hope that sealed and draft continue to receive more and more attention. Because what I will say is, other than casual formats where you're playing puppy decks and whatever, I do think there comes a point for a lot of players where competitive can become stale, or week after week, you're playing the same 3 or 4 decks in a format, and you want to break out and do something different. When you go to play in a limited event, you have no idea what cards you're going to play, and you have no idea what cards you're going to play against. And it's a puzzle every time, and it's fun. So the more these formats take off, the better it is for the game, I think.
Totally. You'd have to have a lot more rules come in, though.
More rules. Rebekah, was that a segue?
Speaking of rules,
we've left our second guest in the green room for far too long. This is a fun conversation. So we talked about one of the big things that happened last week, which was an update to the league strikeout organized play.
Weekly
system.
play.
Right. Oh, I have to mention one thing before we segue. I'm going to break the segue. And I have to mention this. Every single thing in the organized play guide says recommend. And it's important because Ravensburger has said from the very beginning that they will always, at least when the game launched, they were they deferred a lot to game stores to design a program that was appropriate for them and their community and their players. And the only reason I want to mention that is because stores will take leeway with these rules and make adjustments based on their player base. And so that is something to be expected. And it's not necessarily against the organized play guide, because the organized play guide does not require anything. So that is to say, you should feel free, and I think be encouraged to have discussions with your LGS. If they choose to run it this way and you're a fan of it, that's great. If they choose to do things slightly differently, that's not necessarily wrong and against the play guide, but you should have discussions with them about what you want. Because I think most LGSs will want to react to what their community wants. And so this is definitely a guide, but stores may deviate from it. And you should discuss with your game store like how you'd like to see them run it. But this is a great template for a lot of game stores to follow. Anybody want to respond to that before
I'll only add one thing, which is, talk to your LGS about what you want to see. If there's a certain format that you want to play or certain things that you want to do, speak up and ask them to run a week for it. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't let any particular group, whether that's competitive or casual or limited or a mix of all of that, heavily influence your league if there are other people that want to do other stuff.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay, sorry, I broke the segue. Back to the segue. There was some other news this week. We got the organized play rules, the organized play guide, and then there was also some update to the comprehensive rules guide, which I didn't read, but I saw it all over socials.
I didn't either.
So we invited somebody here to explain what's new, what's changed, and perhaps why they changed it. So really excited to welcome in Speedy. Hey, Speedy.
Hey.
Discord. Speedy is in like every big Lorcana community on Discord, all over the place, ever present, and a big rules nerd. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Yeah, and first time too. So super appreciate it. It's been too long. So what did we miss? Like why update the rules and what changed?
Well, firstly, I might need you to go and read every single word of the CRD. This is punishment. Honestly, it was pretty straightforward. I know that there's a lot of iterative focus right now. The rules manager has made that clear to us as well through Discord and other mediums, that updates, very thorough updates to the CRD, are things that they will be delivering to us in time. If I use a 3-letter acronym that doesn't make sense, yell at me. The rules lawyers of the community, that's how we speak to each other. So, the CRD, or comprehensive rules document, is very much a work in progress. It has grown a lot. This change was probably one of the big, like compared to last update where we got like I think one line. This one brought in where they literally, I think they just added a character type from the new character from from set 6, but this one they've added quite a bit more. But most of it is overall pretty simple changes. I can run through each of them. They're not terribly complex. I've got some citations here, so as your viewers, either live or looking back at the recording, want to catch up on them, they're pretty simple. The first one was actually on page 4 of the document, section 2.1. Under there, they updated some subclauses, just addressing basically the new reality we have with the dual ink cards that everyone's very excited about. Just really changing some language. Previously, it said decks can have up to 2 card ink types. Now they say it can't have more than 2. They switched from like positive to negative language. I know why they did that. It's very much just writing concepts, but you can't contain more than 2 ink types and can't have more than 4 cards with the same full name, as opposed to up to 4 cards. So very simple iterative changes there. And yeah, fun fact for anyone who's never looked at this document before, everything that changes is in blue. So it's really easy to find by just scrolling through, and then you can ignore all the other very useful things in there.
That's nice.
Read it before.
Right.
Don't ignore them.
I love the color coding though. Color coding is great.
It is. It makes it a lot easier on the advisors too, who look at this document almost daily, right? There's a lot of us in the community who have basically spent every single day since this game.
I don't know how you guys do it, but I love every single one of you for doing it.
It's true.
So thankful for all the rules nerds out there.
Yeah.
It's a very passionate community. Yeah. The other thing they did, which is part of some larger concepts, you guys probably saw, we have some new shift cards. We have what they refer to as characteristic shift. We only have one example of that, if I recall, and that is Thunderbolt, who has puppy shift, meaning he can only shift on top of other puppy character types, or classifications, I should say. Sorry. So on page 13, in section, they actually added some new subsections under 5.1. They basically defined under, they defined on top, and they kind of redefined in a stack. Basically to better iterate on the positions a card may be in a stack of cards. I know people coming from the other card game love the word the stack. It doesn't exist in Lorcana unless you're talking about a bunch of cards sitting on top of each other, and that's it. So don't ever bring it up again. Great.
Different stack.
But yeah, I feel like this is going to get more important as we continue on into Lorcana. I think the shift is a very interesting mechanic and a unique mechanic, I think, compared to some other TCGs. And I feel that the flexibility of design Ravensburger has here is going to get really interesting. So it's useful to have these terms clearly delineated and defined. There's some glossary definitions later that iterate on this too, very briefly, just to make sure that there's consistency and easy reference points. I'm looking forward to how this changes. The other big shift change as well, which they define some additionally later in the CRD as well, was universal shift with the new Baymax. That was an interesting one. That one threw me for a big loop when I first saw it. I was like, there's an idea. Not sure how I feel about it yet, but it's cool. I like it. It's creative. So it's Baymax and Universal Shift and other cards we may see with that in the future. I think will be really fun. So I know Baymax has been causing some waves. A lot of people want him to work a different way because of his heal entry effect. The ability to remove damage counters. We've seen a lot of questions in the community of, can Baymax remove the damage counters like right away if I move it onto something that had more damage than his willpower? And unfortunately, we've had to tell a lot of people now, nope, Baymax is going to take a nice little trip to the discard, and then his effect throw it away. So
that's good to know.
That's very good to know.
Some little rules tip there.
I would have made that mistake inevitably.
Yeah, it is admittedly, if I'm being honest, it makes sense perfectly within the rules of the game. I think it's one of those interesting points where as Disney Lorcana evolves as a game and tries to understand more of what it wants to be. I know there's a lot of people working very hard and looking very far ahead for this game. But I think you can tell they've made small iterative approaches just over the last 7 sets, right? And kind of where they want things to go. So I think we talk about something like Baymax, where like the effect maybe doesn't exactly jive right with the rules, and you might expect it to behave differently. I think it's one of those things where they're figuring things out. So how that may continue to function in the future, who knows? I know they're very actively listening to the community and trying to make the best game they can. So into this one was very simple. Basically acknowledging that cards now have more than one ink type. We got that on page 14. They added a new clause under 6.2.3 right above the ink key. Literally all it says is, hey, we now have cards with more than one ink type, which is super cool. I didn't expect to see dual color cards this soon. I know we had that huge scare. What was it? The Stitch?
Yeah.
Stitch.
Yeah.
The
Shimmering
steel Stitch
skies.
holding a purple flag, and everyone lost their minds. I have a feeling Ravensburger got a really fun laugh out of that, but
Oh, I'm sure.
They knew what they were doing.
Oh, they knew.
They
They
knew
knew.
exactly.
Like, we're gonna cause some chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine the laughter that happened in the office. All in good fun, I'm sure. One of the more interesting changes, one that wasn't really talked about, like one that really doesn't catch your eye, but I think probably where the most content change happened in this update to the conference rule document is on page 22 and 23. They went to extensive modifications of section 7.8, which discusses ability modifiers.
Whoa.
So things that give you like additive strength or adjusting lore values or adjusting willpower values, things like that. And this section was much shorter before. It was like literally half the size, maybe even less. And they've expanded on it a lot, which I appreciate actually, because there is a lot of misinterpretation still about how these static effects work. I shouldn't assume they're static. Many of them are static effects. Common culprits of this are like Lawrence. People, Illumineers have had trouble understanding sometimes that like Lawrence's strength applies like immediately. There was the fun question back in I think set 3 or set 4 of if I have a weight set down and I play Lawrence, what happens? Because he says 0, but functionally speaking, when he enters play, he has 4. And so understanding the nuance and timing of that, there's a lot of other people who have played other TCGs that's probably very instinctive to them. But there's a lot of new TCG players in Disney Lorcana.
Definitely.
These are things that they need to learn, that have to learn in their own pace. And so I appreciate what this section has tried to do, adding a bunch of examples and elaboration to make that even clearer. So yeah, they go on to talk about how those effects apply to cards, that they do not use the bag. I appreciate that at the end of point 1, very specifically saying this has nothing to do with the bag. They explain how multiple modifiers behave next to each other. 7.8.2 is actually a very important one relative to this set. There was a lot of questions spawned about the new yokai card, yokai scientific supervillain. He's the microbots one, right? Let's do fun things with microbots. And what people started to realize is that based on the rules advisors, of course, started to realize is that based on the literal definitions of the rules document as we had it, I'm going to come back to that question in a second. Based on the literal interpretation of the rules as we have them prior to this update, if I had like a 2-strength character and I had 3 microbots down, making its strength effectively -1, yokai wouldn't trigger for that character.
Oh,
I see.
Not 0,
only if they have 0.
Wow.
Correct. The
Okay.
only time we ever actually like counted negative strength prior to this update, if I recall correctly, was like instances like Flynn Rider, right? Like -1 is higher than -2, if that's ever relevant. So this expands the language and defines the language better. We really only had explanations around like challenging, right? Like negative strength is 0 for the purpose of the challenging, and we just kind of stopped there. So this kind of redefines that and sets, if you have negative strength during a challenge, your strength is considered 0. And otherwise, if you're talking about abilities and their effects, then we'll look at the value. And to apply to effects like this. So basically, this helps make yokai work like they needed to, and make the rules much more clear. And then 7.8.3, pretty on par with where it was before. They just kind of added some words to the explanation, but basically applying the same attribute to more modifiers. So really interesting section. It's a good elaboration. I know there was another when we had the Prince Philip, the Ursula one, the hypnotized one from set 4, the Amber one. There was a lot of questions and concerns about his ability with bodyguard. And we answered a lot of questions about the fact that no, you cannot have Prince Philip enter exerted if an Ursula is in play, because he doesn't technically get bodyguard until he's entering play. And that was a very weird, nuanced thing with timing on bodyguard. But I talk a lot, guys. There was a question. Opponent's cards, which does damage to characters entering. If I thank you. If I shift Baymax onto a character, does Baymax take the damage on his? Which Queen of Hearts are we talking about here? I gotta go see that.
I'm not sure. We did have Joe answered this in the chat, as well as Jordan B.
Hi, Googly's here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, whenever another character is played, put a damage counter on them. Gotcha. So it's Queen of Hearts, Unpredictable Bully.
Yeah.
So just to, I know it's answered in the chat, but just to outline how that would work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, with Baymax, let me pull him back up here. These are both triggered abilities, right? So Queen of Hearts is a triggered ability, Baymax is a triggered ability. They're both going into the bag. The active player would go first, so they're shifting in Baymax. Functionally, they would matter first, except for the fact that, and this is the key issue with Baymax, is that as far as getting himself, healed before it matters, is the game state check. And if you want to understand this, you can go back to section 1.8 of the rules. But ultimately, game state checks are what defines kind of the progression of the game and how certain effects time themselves out and matter. And determine when things need to be done or said, like winning the game, a character needs to be banished or a location needs to be banished. Anytime you complete a turn action, anytime you finish resolving a particular effect in the bag, that game state check kicks in. And so basically what we have here is I've played Baymax. I have completed my turn action of playing a card. Before we ever get to the bag to start resolving triggers, a game state check is going to happen, and it's going to see that Baymax has damage potentially equal to or exceeding his willpower. He's going to go straight into discard before we ever look at the triggers from Queen or from Baymax himself. So, but to the general question of how they connect with each other, assuming something's not immediately taking a vacation to the discard, Baymax would happen first still. So you could potentially dodge some danger from Queen that way. But yeah, anything Googly says, anything Joe says is probably going to be more correct than me. He's got me one-upped, and I will admit that.
Someone was asking a question about the new Pongo, and I don't know if you want to answer that specific question, but more generally, did the rules make any updates about, because your Inkwell is like considered a hidden zone, right? Mm-hmm. Did the rules change to kind of like define more about now that we can look at it with this card?
No. Not in the comprehensive rules. The comprehensive rules largely are kind of I like to refer to them, personal speedy talk here. I like to refer to them more as a process guide than I do a rules document. People generally look at rules as all the things you can and cannot do. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like the CRD is strictly that as much as it is a process guide, right? I look at process guides a lot in my professional life, corporate world. And the CRD, moreover, at least in its current iteration, is about telling you how to execute something correctly, not necessarily defining all of the upper and lower limits. We do know, and I believe it's in the tournament rules document, I think, it might be in the PCG, Google can correct me, but we do know that players are at liberty to arrange their Inkwell in any fashion. It might even be in the CRD. I can't remember which document it's in. But the players are at liberty to arrange their Inkwell in any fashion they choose, and that is comfortable to them. They cannot, otherwise, absent of something like Pongo, they can't look at it freely, right? They can't do anything else weird. But it's been more or less suggested to us through Discord that if I'm inking cards and I want to put all my puppies I've inked over here, mm-hmm. and I want to put all my other cards I've inked over here, I am technically at liberty to do that. A lot of people then ask the question, well, isn't that note-taking? And that's a great question. And that gets into philosophy, and I'm not even going to go there.
Speedy's not a rules philosopher.
I will, but I don't want to put you guys to sleep. I'm not a believer that rules can necessarily undermine other rules, right? So in my view, like, well, no, it's not note taking because it's explicitly permitted, right? That you can put your inkwell in whatever fashion you choose, and if that means inking certain things in certain spots roughly, then sure. Does that make the most sense in the end run? I don't know. How many more Pongos are we going to get? I think is probably a good question down the line. But
right.
It's an interesting case. Yeah.
I have an important question. Is zombie Lilo the proper vernacular for? Is this the vernacular for escape artist? Is that?
That is in the comprehensive rules document, actually.
Yeah, no, 100%.
There's some fan art waiting to be made here, I guess, if that's the.
Yeah, there'll be some fun alters, I'm sure of that. We'll get our own what if episode of Disney Lorcana.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Zombie Lilo. I do remember zombie puppies being.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of with Perdita.
Yeah. Little zombie puppies. I guess so. Katie Lorekeeper's in on Twitch, one of our 11 Twitch viewers. Shout out to all of you. Asked about key to creative thinker. Does the card have to be inkable? I don't remember this card. So I'm gonna have to
look at the top two cards of your deck. Put one in your inkwell face down and exerted, and the other on the top of your deck.
No, this is another fishbone quill effect. So one of the key defining words.
It doesn't say reveal.
Well, it's not even that. It's additional, right? So
additional. Right.
Additional is usually the key defining word to recognize when you have an additional turn action. What Bell and what Sail the Azurite Sea do is basically permit you to take an additional ink turn action every turn, right? You can repeat the turn action of inking, which you may only otherwise be able to do once in a turn. When we look at cards like Tipo, like Fishbone, like this Kita, they don't say that. They're just saying put something into your inkwell. They're not saying that you may ink an additional card this turn. Inking a card is a specific action. Putting something in your inkwell is something different.
Yeah. So I didn't anticipate all of these rules questions as we're going through the document.
I did. Yeah, I'm actually super happy Joe's here because I know he loves literally any rules question anywhere that exists on the internet, and he can catch all the ones while I'm monologuing. So
I assume that he wasn't planning on being here tonight, but like about 30 minutes ago when we mentioned comprehensive rules, like he sensed a disturbance in the forest.
Like, I must be there.
Yeah, I'm not. All right, Athenian rush and gain +1.
So one thing, Liam, I don't know if you want to go ahead and grab the link to this and share it, but speaking of Googly has a set notes. They're unofficial, I believe, right? So these are just things that Googly in his own free time has put together. But it's to help people see basically all of the things that might be changing or refreshers on all the new stuff that is coming with Azurite Sea, right? Or sorry, Archazia Island.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up actually at the end here, but yeah, well, I think a great resource is it's an unofficial resource. Be very clear about that. It's an unofficial resource fueled by the community. It is Googly is kind of the arbiter and originator of it. The first version he did was last set for Azurite Sea, and then he worked on it again for this set. A lot of our peers inside the Lorcana Rulebook Hub helped to kind of look over it and make sure it was what the community needed. So a bit of a group effort there, but Googly put in a lot of the work, and it is an extremely beneficial resource. It is great for understanding a lot of the key changes specific to this set, a lot of the cards that we've seen as questions. Effectively, what a lot of us has done is we've collaborated ahead of this set and helping the community with things as we were taking notes of every question we're seeing. Lorcana Rulebook Hub, kind of the server I help run, there's tons of very skilled rules advisors there. Googly is one of the top ones and helped me kind of get the wall set up around it too. And we have him, we have Narsgal, who does a lot of Facebook and Reddit monitoring. Googly's all over the Discords and everywhere else in Reddit. And we look for the questions we keep seeing a lot. and we write those down so that we can figure out what kind of content and what kind of language we need to start helping people understand. And a lot of that helped form the set notes as well. We did a great job of making that easy to read, visual, consumable. It's a very useful resource. I would absolutely check it out on his website, lorelicense.com.
That's awesome. Yeah, just to foot stomp that a little bit. Thanks for bringing that up, Brendan, and Speedy for talking about it. As these sets come out, even if you don't have questions, it's because you haven't like thought of them. And throughout the community, various people have found all the ways that cards are going to be super confusing because they're not clear. And what these folks are doing in the rules Discord and in this comprehensive rules guide that Google comes out with the help of folks like Speedy, are anticipate all of these questions and write them down so that when they pop up in League, you're already prepared. So it's a great resource. And I don't know, you could go into a set thinking everything is clear as mud, but there are things that you didn't anticipate, and this document captures pretty much all of them. So.
And I can promise you don't want to be in the position where you are like at the table playing a card and then you realize that nobody knows how an interaction works. Because I've been there. Google can attest. I have immediately pulled out my phone so quickly and just tagged them as quickly as possible, being like, "Are you there? Can you please tell me how this works?" To clear it up.
Always call a judge if you're in an event and you don't know how something works, or even if you're uncomfortable about something. And if you're just at your kitchen table, if you're having fun. I'll shamelessly plug Rebekah, but really you can just pick a Discord that has a rules question section. Myself, Googly, Narzgal, Kono. There's so many people. Pupil Surfer. There are so many people, and a lot of these people are people who have worked at Disney Lorcana Challenge events. By the way, myself, Joe, Jordan, Chris. A lot of us have been to Russell, Golbez. We've been to multiple Disney Lorcana challenges at this point. We've been able to help thousands of Lumineers enjoy the game at a credible level, and we put a lot of that passion in off hours, right, in our own personal time through these Discords and through these communities, and really helping educate. I think that's the big thing Rebekah is really trying to do, is educate the community on these rules to create better acumen, right, so that our work gets easier. So.
I'm just creating a rules questions channel in our Discord.
There you go.
There you go.
Get in there, Googly. Yeah. I didn't have a whole lot more about the CRD. There was a couple more changes that are pretty minor. There was a mild rewording on some stuff in 10.8. They did add clarification, like specific lines that discuss, like I already talked about, the universal shift and characteristic shift. So they've got some full context for that. Going into page 28, they define vanish as a new keyword. I know vanish created some questions. I'll just say it now if you haven't heard it already. When vanish talks about an action, it means a literal action card. So if a literal action card is choosing your character, that's when vanish would trigger. And just like what we were talking about earlier, that's a trigger, so it's still going to wait. So if you banish something with vanish, like with Dragonfire, vanish will go into the bag and do nothing because your character's already gone. But that is effective. But that also means you can banish something. You can make the Cobra go away with Mosquito Bite. So that's pretty cool. So yeah,
good image.
They define vanish, and then minor glossary changes to kind of address everything else that was already talked about. Very, very straightforward, but I think effective update for the CRD this go around. Really helping hone in a lot of the new stuff that we have. So.
Ever as before is a illusion wipe. I just want to tell everyone about that.
Yeah,
because you can you can remove up to 2 damage from any number of chosen characters. So you can choose multiple illusion characters and banish them all.
It's a full board wipe. That would be completely awful in multiplayer. Oh my goodness. Well, we only have 3 illusion characters that exist. So the whole board is illusions for some reason. I have bigger questions.
Buy the cards now, because I'm sure in future sets.
Somehow 15 Cobras got on the board, but I took care of it, guys. Don't worry.
Ever as no more.
No more. All right. Well, that was fun. Okay, I think we hit all the rules questions in the chat. Anything we're missing rules wise? I think, I don't know. We talked about illusions. We talked about all the things.
It's this one's probably a little more controversial. I was wondering if you guys were going to get into it when we started talking about changes to OP and to sets and the store stuff. But I do know, and maybe there's not enough time to talk about this, but I thought there was an interesting change in the set championships OP kit
Yeah.
material.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. There are
Everyone
some
said,
changes
"Oh
with
yeah,
that.
that one."
It was in the
Yeah,
notes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They if you look inside that one, and I'll put a link here if you can pull it up, but down under tournament details, there's a line of text that has been changed again and is very bold and very much in your face. But it says when it's discussing specifically participation for set championships, it says players allowed in your venue cannot be restricted from this event for any reason other than physical space requirements to ensure fairness and inclusivity for the community. And that got a lot of mixed reactions online. And I'm not gonna make heads or tails of those reactions. I think I have a pretty neutral perspective of that anyway. I've spent so much time on Discord. I've seen every sentiment under the sun about set championships, who goes to them and why, stores trying to manage that. I think the one opinion I will insert is I appreciate that this creates more responsibility on the stores that are hosting these events to do it correctly and fairly. Right? It's easier to hold people accountable when there's very clearly written rules. Something Ravensburger is consistently getting better at. And at least specifically when we talk about some of the bad actor stores out there, I've seen one too many instances in my life already of stores that run phantom 8-man events or 8-player events, I'll say, and but no one's there, and then they just take, and then weirdly, strangely, the eBay account of someone who might work at that LGS may or may not shows up, and they're selling a whole OP kit, and no one knows how that happened, right? That's just weird.
Yeah.
And this document definitely doesn't say in bold letters, return your OP kit if you fail to fire an event. It definitely doesn't say that on the page right before this. So, yeah, it's interesting. There's larger implications that you could probably spend a whole other session talking about in terms of how people feel about the roaming grinders and making things exclusive to locals and new participants and what have you. But I try not to get into those personally.
Oh yeah, anybody want to dive in here?
I'll just reiterate what Speedy said. I think it's a good thing that Ravensburger is putting things in that, like, in bold, that are just clear statements that, like, this is not allowed, and hopefully we'll see more repercussions for stores that get caught doing these kinds of things. And more than even just stores, like, this extends to players, to things like that too, like players that are caught cheating or doing things like that. Like, we want this game to be a enjoyable experience and safe experience for anybody that wants to come and play, especially new TCG players, because as Speedy alluded to earlier in the stream, there's a ton of new TCG players for this game, and all of them are susceptible, including those of us that have played TCGs for a little while. We're also susceptible to a lot of this stuff, and so I'm more excited than anything to just see that there's more work on that end that Ravensburger is doing for sure.
Yeah.
And really, there's only so much they can do.
Yeah.
Right? Like Ravensburger can't control what stores actually do, but when they make it clear like this, I think that gives players and hopefully players are paying attention to stuff like this, so that when you see stores that are going against like things that aren't allowed, that it can be like there's an email address that people can report stores for going against store policy and all of that. And so making it very clear, I think, is helpful.
Yeah.
But things will still happen.
I was about to say, if you go to DisneyLorcana.com, whatever region that's in /contact, or just go to the website, and you can, if you click a little drop down, there's a contact page. At the very bottom, there's a thing that says write us a message, and you can click subject. One of those subjects is I would like to report misconduct. So if you see, if a store is doing something they're not supposed to be doing or anything like that, you have an ability to report those things officially through those ways.
I have shared the email address of lorcanaop@robinsburger.com so many times.
So many times.
Last year.
Yeah.
I literally have a meme for it.
Yeah.
I think there are lots of good changes to, like somebody mentioned, the playmat change. There's only the one now for champion. We have the participation card that now everybody who goes and plays in a set championship is going to walk away with something, which I think is a fantastic change.
Yep.
Also a very small change. I'm not sure how many people noticed this, but it specifically says now in the tournament details that you can run it as a best of 3 or 2 game format. That was not in there before. Yeah. So now officially they can be run either way, which is nice. So I think all good changes. And this one that you pointed out, Speedy, of creating fairness and inclusivity for these events is just really, really important. And it shows the values that Ravensburger as a company has for this game and the community.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I shrunk the window to play with pictures here. No, I think this is a step in the right direction. I will say, I do though sympathize with. There is a store in our local area. We have a lot of LGSs, like 6 or 7, and you have the same people go to each one. You got a lot of very good players who constantly win. And there was one particular game store who, limited participation to their league players, and it was like 8 or 10 people, and I think they did it in the interest of rewarding their league players and allowing people to win championship promos who didn't, or set championship promos who didn't, in the other stores because of how competitive they are and whatever. I think that store's heart was in the right place, but I agree, like the downsides to that and the feels bads from those who are excluded definitely outweigh, and the ability for that store to grow their customer base definitely outweigh the benefits. So I see it all sides,
I think there is a place though to say, like, okay, we're going to run an event for 16 people and we're going to let all of our weekly players register first. And we happen to have 14 regular weekly players. That takes up 14 spots. And so now there's only 2 available that are open to the public. Like you put your weekly players on like a pre-sale or whatever to join the event. Like that's totally valid, I think, for stores to do that. But then if there's extra space, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
It tells you a lot about, like even earlier when you guys were talking about the leagues, aka the artist formerly known as league changes.
Yes.
And you were talking about, you guys were sharing personal experiences about like how league has been in your locals, and I'm like even if I had the time to go to league, I don't think league's really a thing that happens effectively around me, right? I'm in Central Illinois. My preferred LGS for Lorcana, shout out to Rad Lad Games, is in Mahomet, which is like 40 minutes one way from us. I've got stores here in town, and I like them all on their own merit, but they don't really have like a strong Lorcana community like this one does. We found that one, and that's our Lorcana home.
Yep.
But like, there's a lot of stores around me, but they're all, you got to drive to get there, basically. And it's if you want to try and play Lorcana as much as possible, I just like it. League's not really a thing that people talk about around me. So I think it says a lot about, there's a lot of differences in how this game's appreciated and perceived between, I mentioned it in chat earlier, like rural Lumineers. I really stuck with that word, rural. And then like, urban Lumineers, like where it's like, oh, I've got 10 LGSs and
8 LGSs.
Right.
I got
very different.
I could just play Lorcana all day if I felt like it. And like, that's super cool. I'm hyped for you. I'm not going to go pay to live in Chicago, right? I ain't doing that. So, I think that it's hearing these sentiments from the community over time shows a lot of the differences in the way that different local communities adjust and are understood and treat the game as well. So whether you've got roamers or just people who really just wanted to have fun and have a community and not feel like that's being intruded on for any reason, right? So many perceptions to try and keep track of. So
yeah. Brandon, did Speedy just describe like you and me with everything rural?
Yeah, so I'd say like I'm in the same boat, dude. Like there's one store in town that would be easy to go to, but there's no Lorcana players there. Like they sell product, and then the closest store to that is 45 minutes one direction. So every Tuesday, if I want to go to league after work, I gotta drive out there, play league, and then drive back.
Yeah, Tuesday is funny. Like our store, their league event was previously on the weekends, and they just kind of stopped, right? Even as like what I think is probably the most successful Disney Lorcana store in Central Illinois. No disrespect to any of the other ones I might have judged at. They just kind of like didn't really spend time advertising the league anymore. They have a bunch of other TCGs that are successful, right? They've got Fab, they've got Pokemon, they've got other things. So they started investing more time into those as well, and using that valuable weekend time, because league just wasn't really sticking, right? And my perspective isn't totally complete on that. I have a toddler, so like driving 40 minutes to go play a card game is not very feasible anymore. But it's just it's different, right? I think it would be cool at least to spend a little time in an environment where I can just, hey, Lorcana League is the thing that matters here. Or I'm sorry, weekly play. Or I'm sorry, no, it's a
weekly play. Weekly play.
League challenge coined by
Weekly League Play Challenge.
Yes.
Championship
event.
Yes.
Championship. Yes.
But yeah, it's a I don't know. It gets me thinking a lot about the diversity in this game in so many aspects, right? So
yeah, totally agree. Honestly, I could talk to you all, both of you, all three of you, all night about this. Plenty of things to dive into here. I do think, though, this is a great discussion. And please, if you have any other thoughts in the comments, please throw them out. Appreciate the chat throughout the show. I do want to move on to our final segment here. And then we can wrap up with any comments. We are going to do some trivia. Before we do that, I just need to shout out a couple of people first. Thank you, Mandy, once again for your support. This super sticker. We can never see what the super sticker is, but the descriptions are always amazing. Parrot character dancing under a rain of confetti and taking his hat off to say you are amazing. Appreciate that. And I'm visualizing it in my head. So thank you for the super sticker. It means a lot. Because Restream is $30 a month, and as well as other expenses. And then also, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we do have a Patreon, which I didn't expect anybody to use, but we had 3 people sign up for the free membership where you can receive updates.
There you go.
We have our first patron supporter period, and it's exactly who you ought to expect, and it's Scott Cypher, Scott Goodrich. So we appreciate that. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and I can't thank you enough. So thanks for supporting us on our brand new silly Patreon. And with that, shout out with those folks. Let's move on to our final segment with the video that I didn't load up, but I'm going to do it now. You know what the video does is it allows me to bring people in without surprising people. So the video's there, and then Caroline's here when the video ends.
Movie magic.
See, it's never a surprise though. I know my cue.
That's true. And you should come in with I've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
Because you have.
It's true. I have been.
Caroline was calling from inside the house.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say, y'all are all, being self-conscious about how chatty you are. It's only gonna get worse when you add me. So
I don't know, Katie. That is a good question. If I figure out where we downloaded it, we'll send it to you and we can test.
Let me know if that works, Katie. I might use that in the future.
We'll test this out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we learned tonight.
Is this how I figure out I have teleportation powers? Be nice.
So if you so what we've learned tonight is if you have 2 players and you want to play a multiplayer game, you can play the jingle, summon Caroline, and then you can whisper googly 3 times into a deck box.
And you have a judge and a multiplayer.
And googly
there you go.
And then there you go. All right.
Yes.
Caroline, our quiz master, what are we doing tonight?
We are doing a little more card trivia tonight.
Full disclosure, I'm going to lose this one.
That's okay. I think it's going to be a little harder for all of you because these are newer cards.
These
are cards that have not been in the meta as long. And
geez.
Edie, if you have not seen an episode like this before, there have only been 2, so I wouldn't blame you. What we will do is Liam will put just the image from a card up on the screen, and y'all will all take turns saying facts about the card that are true. So you can you can say the character's name, classifications, stats, the artist, the number, the ink color, things like that. And if you come up with more creative things, you might find a way past some of your competitors. But we will do 2 cards this evening, as long as we have time. If one goes quite long, then we may only do one. We'll see how it goes.
It might be really short.
It might be really short. But one is from
Dreamborn links over here. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say close your apps, close your Dreamborns.
No.
It's gonna be bad. You sent me this picture and I was like, nope.
Ignore chat. Chat's gonna start throwing stuff out.
I know they're gonna be yelling at us.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say chat will yell at you. You do get one chance to save yourself. So if you have a wrong answer, I'll tell you that it's wrong, and then you can say something. You have to correct yourself in order to stay in the game. You only get that one lifeline. The only one here who has won this before is Brandon. So
Nice.
Good.
I'm not going easy.
but yes, as when you run out of things to say, you do get kicked out to answer the chat. So it'll slowly go down to just 2 people.
Yeah, that'd be funny. To get kicked out. Yes, you're out of the round. I should kick him to the green room, right?
Totally out.
Anyway. All right.
You ready to put that first card up for me, Liam?
No. All right.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
This is where I lose my commentating
Do
job.
we go in
I
order
was
here?
gonna
or-
say, let's start with Speedy since it's his first time on the show.
Rude.
This is a sapphire card.
It is. Rebekah?
Oh, it's Baymax.
It is Baymax. Brandon?
It has 2 strength.
It does have 2 strength. Very good. Liam?
It is Storyborn.
It is Storyborn. Good job.
I had like a 50-50 chance there.
All right. Speedy.
Great. If I recall correctly, its version is flying robot.
It is not. Can you fix it?
Can I fix the version name? Absolutely not. No.
Can
This one doesn't have. Is it a fact to say it does not have shift?
I think since we've already established it's Storyborn, I don't think.
Oh, that's fair. Dang it. All right. Dang. I'm gonna lose already, guys. This is embarrassing. This has 4 willpower.
It does not. It has
All right,
more
I'm
than
great.
that.
This is why
All
I lose, guys.
Yeah, hey, I'm right there with you on this one. Sometimes there's easy ones. This one I've never played with, so.
All right, Rebekah.
Big Hero 6 franchise.
Sure. Yep.
Wow.
Took
Yes.
my safety. Was my
This game is
go-to.
part memorization and part creativity.
Yeah. Does it have 6 willpower?
It is 6 willpower, not 4.
All right.
Liam.
Well, I guess I have a 50-50 shot here. He's uninkable.
No.
He's inkable.
Trixie. You're getting Trixie on me, but you've
I feel
wasted
like
your
that shouldn't
lifeline,
count.
sir.
I feel like I shouldn't count. I feel like
By the
No, 'cause
rules. By the rules, it counts.
because that's like
but
a gimme, you know?
But
So,
that is
yeah.
that you have
No.
wasted your lifeline now,
Oh, fine.
Rebekah.
Robot classification.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good one.
It's from set 6.
Yes, it is from set 6.
Oh, was it me again?
It is
It
you
is
again.
you.
I have nothing. It has great art. I don't even know the artist on this one. It's a.
Oh, there's something particular about the art, though. Come on, Liam.
Oh, what? It's pretty.
It's pretty.
You can be more creative than that.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I got a tap.
All right,
Yeah.
Liam's out.
You're
Rebekah.
I know, Riley. I know.
Two. Does it quest for 2?
It does quest for 2. 2 lore.
That's
I
what
should
I was
say.
Guessed.
Brandon.
We already said franchise. Did we do cost?
We did not. Liam said inkable, but we did not say how much it costs.
Does it cost 5?
It surely does.
All right.
Wow.
Rebekah.
Oh boy. What have we not said? It's. I don't know if I can come up with anything else. It's not Whitney Pollitt for the artist, right?
It's not.
No, because she did the other version of Baymax. Liam.
That was an artist tip, though. I think.
Oh, I can't.
Yep.
I don't know if I can. Wait, is Baymax an ally?
He is not. Can you fix it?
Oh, then he must be a hero.
He is a hero. Yes.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right, Brandon.
Dang, this is getting tough. Okay. I think we've said we haven't. Is it a legendary card?
The original version is a legendary. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's an enchanted version of this card.
Yes. That is this art is the enchanted version of the card. Yes.
Yes.
There's a DLC promo. It's a DLC promo.
It was
That
a
count?
DLC promo. That counts.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Rebekah, you out?
I think I'm out. Yep.
Ah.
Brandon,
Brandon, you got
again.
anything left?
I don't know. That I'm digging deep.
I was gonna say it's a tie if you also don't have anything left.
Hold on, I can come up with something.
We still haven't said it's.
I was gonna say the sub name you guys.
Yeah,
still
The
I
have
sub
don't
not
name we
know.
haven't said.
You also have said nothing about what he does.
Oh,
We don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't.
It's an interplay effect, right? And is it remove 2 damage from a character when it
Yes.
enters play?
When you play this character and whenever you quest, you may remove up to 2 damage
Oh,
from
Oh, and in
another
every quest.
chosen character.
Okay.
Good job,
Nice.
Brandon.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god.
Wow, that was.
Oh dear, that was
Pulling out from the recesses of your memory there.
Yeah, I'm
really
going
Wait.
into my mind palace trying to picture this card.
walking through.
What is his sub name though? Baymax.
Armored
what?
companion.
I don't know.
Armored companion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flying robot was a decent guess.
I do like
Yeah,
flying robot.
I
That
might have
should
been
be-
pulling on a completely different Baymax, which is still not correct, but it was closer to you.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that was the enchanted art though. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
I
the regular art is like
Mhm.
Baymax shooting straight up in the air and his wings
Oh yeah.
break the frame.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I should have known the artist tip. Once I remembered it was the enchanted version, they had the artists for those 2 promos at Continentals.
So who
it
was
wasn't
it?
Whitney. You could have narrowed it down to either Amber or Coney. And this doesn't look like Coney's art. So Amber would be my guess.
Yes,
It's
it is
Amber.
Amber. Amber Kamalangsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah.
feel? Do you want a chance at redemption, Speedy?
Yeah, I thought of the best answer as soon as I was out, which was it was used on a card sleeve. but
Yeah, there you go.
I would have taken it.
Amazing.
That is the best correct answers are the technical ones, for
shame
sure.
on me for missing a few brain cells there. It's all right.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness.
All right, Liam, you want to bring up card number 2?
Nope.
He says no.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
In
man.
in honor of it being Archasia's Island release this week, I
Dang.
figured we had
Wow.
to do one Archasia's Island card.
Wow.
We haven't even played this card yet.
I know. That's why it's hard.
Yep.
All right, we'll go winner first and then from there. So, Brandon?
Hiro Hamada.
Yes. Liam?
Inkable.
He is inkable, yeah. Yeah. Speedy.
It's a Duel Link card.
It is a Duel Link card.
Yeah, you're leaving like an answer on the table for somebody else.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I was gonna say he's Emerald and Sapphire.
Yep,
There you
he is
go.
Oh, you
Emerald
could have
and
just said
Sapphire.
one, giving me the other one.
Rebecca's like, I'm not here for that.
No.
This is the enchanted version of this card.
No, it's not.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, there is an enchanted version of this card.
Sure. Okay. I'll accept that.
He is Floodborn.
He is Floodborn.
He's an inventor.
He is an inventor.
He has an alternate art.
He also has an alternate art. Yeah.
I've lost track of what we've already said.
Yeah.
If you say something you've already said, it won't count as your wrong answer.
Have we already? We already said he was Floodborn, so I can't say he's can shift, right?
If you know his shift cost, I'll take that.
I'm not confident enough, and I'm already out of life. So, his ability is that all other characters of yours that I'm gonna butcher this. That if there's a card that's on top of another card, that card gains ward and evasive.
Close enough. I'll take it.
Okay.
They do specifically have to be Floodborn, but currently in the game, there's no other way to put a card on top of another card.
Do they have to be Floodborn or do they have to be shifted?
It says your Floodborn characters that have a card under them gain evasive and ward.
Which also counts himself, as we learned.
Yes.
As we learned last week from RMB.
Yeah.
All right.
Going back to that under definition from the CRD.
Yeah, see?
There you go.
Liam.
He's a hero.
He is a hero. Very good. Hero is a hero.
That was actually if you said he wasn't, then I was gonna be like, no, he is. Anyway, all right.
A couple people in chat saying it's also not other yet. I think Brandon corrected himself in the middle there. I was gonna pick on him for that, but
oh, did I say other?
You did it first, and then I think you corrected yourself. So
I didn't mean to say other.
I'm a let it slide.
I knew that it counted on himself. I was just butchering my words.
That's true. We did cover that specifically last week, so
yes, we did.
All
right, Speedy.
Man, how many more things can I tell you about this card? None. He has really cool boots.
I mean, fair, but I'm not necessarily calling that a fact.
Oh my god,
because that's an opinion.
Like that's a fact. I don't feel like anyone can disagree with that.
That's an opinion.
He is currently on Archasia's Island.
He is from the set Archasia's Island. I'll take it.
There you go.
I'm going for a creative answer again. He's from the Big Hero 6 franchise.
He sure is, Rebecca. You're
taking it
right.
early.
Yeah.
Right. I like how you saved
before
that
somebody
one.
else does. No, before somebody else takes it.
This have we
We've not done any stats yet, so
No stats yet. I don't remember what he costs, and I hate this. Does he have 4 strength?
he sure does.
Wow.
Good job.
Does has anybody said his cost?
Nope.
Does he cost 7?
Yes, he does. You guys know more about this card than you think you do.
That was a guess because I think I remember his shift cost. And
That
I
wasn't going to be my guess. I'm glad you said it.
well, I kind of remembered his shift cost, honestly.
All right, Speedy.
This is a super far reach. But I'm hung up on his belt. And the symbol kind of looks like the Archazia owl symbol that keeps getting inserted all over the place, like at least the outline of it. And that can just be a terrible, terrible reach, and you can send me to the discard pile.
It is something about the art I had not noticed yet, so I'm gonna let you stay in.
All right, thank you.
I like that. Rebekah.
Is he a rare card?
He is not. Can you fix it?
Super rare.
Yes, he is a super rare.
Oh dear.
All right, Brandon and Rebekah's lifelines are gone.
Yep.
Have we said that this is the Set Champs promo?
You have not. Rebekah just said it has an alternate art.
Okay.
Yes, it is the Set Champs promo card. Yeah. Do you know his shift cost?
I do, but I feel like we know his cost and we know his shift cost, so it kind of feels like cheating.
It's not cheating.
There are lots of cards that don't have
there are a few
standard.
That's fair. He shifts for 5, right?
He does shift for 5, yes.
Yeah.
Did we say his name?
Yes.
We
well, you said his name. You
name.
didn't say the sub name. If you want to take a stab at that one.
I do not know his version name. I'm going to be struggling here a lot, guys. Maybe it's because it's a. This is the original art.
This is the original art.
Has that been said?
No, it hasn't. I told Brandon it wasn't the enchanted art, but considering there are 3 versions of this art, that's actually a fair assessment.
We're into semantics now.
Semantics is the game that I play, Liam. Come on now.
That is fair.
It's also the game that Speedy plays.
Yeah.
That is also fair. I was not expecting to win this anyway.
Rebekah?
Oh, that's me. I forget, did we say there's an enchanted version of this?
Yeah.
Yes, we did say
we
that.
did? Okay, we did say that, and we said there's an alternate art. We said that it's a set promo.
So willpower is left, lore value.
Oh yeah.
What the ability is called, artist.
5 willpower.
Nope.
No.
Rebekah's the first one out.
I'm out.
6 willpower.
6 willpower. Yes.
7 willpower.
Did we do strength?
No, I got nothing.
We did do strength. Yeah.
I got nothing on this one. I don't know. Is the artist Kenny Gonzalo?
It is not.
Is the artist Leonardo Gimichel?
It is not.
No. See.
Liam's out.
Nope.
Speedy?
The only other thing I had was another art observation, which is super lame. But the designs on his shield and his pauldron are reminiscent of the designs we've seen throughout the Illuminary, and a lot of the other structural designs that kind of circle line fun stuff.
Yeah, and they're also, sacred geometry, which is, of course, the shape language for Sapphire. I have given you 1 art, and so I'm going to not count the second one.
I'd like to appeal that decision.
Unfortunately, unlike judging, this game has no appeal system.
All right, I concede.
Let me check the green room and see. But no,
Unless you want to split, I'll concede.
Oh man, Brandon wins again.
Brandon, if you have a fact, you win again.
Let's see. We haven't done lore. I'm not gonna know the artist. We said he was a hero. We said he was Floodborn.
You haven't said subname and you haven't said lore value.
I want to cheat and say this card is the playmat for the set champs as well, because I'm most confident in that.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think that's a separate fact from it being a set champs promo.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say he has 3 lore.
He does have 3 lore.
Oh yeah!
Oh,
nice. Oh
There it
man,
is.
wow.
You guys are gonna have to figure out a way to throw Brandon in this game.
Study
I
up,
was gonna
nerds.
say no. Wow. Snap.
Kidding.
I was gonna say the artist for the Enchanted, but I wasn't sure I was right. But I was right. It was Rachel Elise did the Enchanted version, and she's one of my favorite artists in the game.
Brandon, if you're casting at Worlds, I need to make sure you find an opportunity to slide in that while you may not be the Disney Lorcana World Championship, you are the Guess That Disney Lorcana Card World Champion.
There you go.
The Know Your Cards champ.
Hey, that'd be a fun segment, Ravensburger.
It would be.
I'm available
for the DLCs. I think that'd be really fun. Test the caster's knowledge on the cards.
We're getting plenty of rehearsals here.
Yeah.
Aaron, so glad you could join us.
Hi,
Aaron.
Hi, everybody.
Wild
Sneaking in right at the end.
Glad you could make it. Glad Elena finally went to sleep.
Yes, I most definitely did not fall asleep in the process. That completely did not happen.
It did get very quiet back there, and like halfway through the show, I was like, "Yeah."
Liam's like, I definitely haven't done that before.
Look, after an hour and a half of trying to rock her to sleep, I rocked myself to sleep. So you know what? My rocking is very effective.
That happened.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
There's definitely a few texts. So Bueller.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Look,
Aaron,
it happens.
what do you think about the show?
It was great. I was especially riveted by that one bit where you talked about Lorcana.
My favorite bit.
You know,
The best
that bit.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Most memorable.
Yeah, it was a good bit about Lorcana. That's
the best,
for sure.
The best bits of all the bits.
The best bits of all the bits. My phone also died, so that didn't help. So anyway. Sorry, everybody. Hi. It's great to see everyone.
Yeah.
So I won the game, clearly, right?
Undefeated.
Undefeated. I got no wrong answers.
No wrong answers. And
didn't need any lifelines.
None.
We are. Oh, man. Well, that was. I feel bad like rapping now because you showed up. It feels so rude to be like, we're out of time.
Aaron, do you have any judge questions?
Now that Aaron's here.
Aaron,
Liam, I think one last thing we wanted to talk about was the Chinese competitive circuit got published today.
Yeah, that's true. Do we have time to talk about this very briefly, or either of our guests, you all need to go?
I could stick around.
All right. Real quick. I guess
1 minute summary.
1 minute summary. I don't have a 1 minute summary. So Lorcana's releasing in China, just released in Japan, and we knew there were some Japanese competitive events, but now, as of today, there are Chinese competitive events, but they're kind of different. This was posted in WeChat in China, and our good friend Mushu over at Mushu Report, as he always does, dug out that information, translated it for us, and you can find the details on mushureport.com, your favorite wiki for everything Lorcana. Brandon, I briefly looked at this. Do you have kind of or does anybody have kind of a, once over on what this competitive play looks like?
It's so different.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest with you. I did not read over it before the show. I kind of did it while we were all chatting in the green room, and it does seem very different. There seems to be like a road to Worlds that's like a bit different than we have over here, and that I think there's like a more local level tournament that you can play in, and if you do well in those, then you move on to a bigger tournament. If you do well at that, then you move on to another tournament, and then eventually you can get your way to Worlds, which I think is kind of cool. And we obviously don't have, because it would be essentially like if you went to a big set champs, then you could qualify to go to the next thing, or maybe I don't know, get a ticket to go to the next thing.
So it's like PTQs, right? Like sounds like they're kind of adopting that like qualifier model to get into the higher level competitive.
Yeah, and I don't know that they specified which world championship. I'm assuming the one that's yet to be announced.
Well, we're still missing players.
So I don't know.
You didn't get what I thought was funny.
Oh, the R&B?
Yeah, I was like, apparently R&B's cloning himself because you have to pay 50 of them to enter. It says 50, entry is 50 R&B, and
amazing.
R&B.
Look, y'all, I just
you have
woke up.
You have to bring 50 R&Bs with you just to get in.
Yeah. Somebody like Maelstrom.
I mean, it does have dates on it, right? So these March dates for the store and city qualifiers. There's no other information about the challenge tournaments, challenge qualifiers, and challenge tournaments. It didn't look like when I was looking through it, but that does lead us to believe that if they're happening in March, that it would be qualifying for the Worlds that is yet to be announced. This year's not to 2026, but whatever.
Theoretically, 2025.
Theoretically 2025. The one that we already have folks qualified for.
Right.
That these events would be feeding into that same pool of players. But I don't think that I believe that these tournaments also are only set 1 and 2 that players can play with. Because that's all that's been released so far in China. And so they can only, I think it said that in here.
That would seem right to me.
So,
yeah.
And I know for a fact that that's the case in Japan. I don't know about China, but I know in Japan that only Japanese cards can be used in Japanese tournaments. And so I don't know if it's the same for the Chinese tournament circuit. And so that would make sense that they would only be able to play with set 1 and 2 for this tournament. But then once they get into qualify for Worlds, since it's not a Chinese tournament, that they would be able to play with all available cards.
That's actually really, because I mean, like that's when the standing presumption is like we have a few spots remaining in Worlds in the Worlds event, and those would probably be from the Asian region. But it gets weird when you think about they can only play with cards in their own native language for the purposes of OP in their territories.
And they can only play with the sets
and
they're out.
Never mind, that they're being subject to their own phase accelerated release, right? Hopefully, maybe they're getting all their cards in time before Worlds. Who knows? That's
The other thing that leads me to believe that it's feeding into this current Worlds is because the promo cards is all the same promo cards for this last season, and that I would assume that it's all part of this season 1 of Disney Lorcana Challenge. So that's the other thing that would lead me to believe they are part of the current.
Yeah.
Brandon, we have a new format to figure out how we're tracking.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
Good
luck, y'all.
It is.
I do think it's really cool they're doing these city and store qualifiers.
Yeah. I was
really
going to say, I kind of like how the graphic shows that, like, I think I explained it wrong earlier. Like, there's 2 avenues you can get to what essentially looks like their Continental Championship. You have like the more local kind of tournaments you can go to, and then go to the big prize tournament. I was trying to see if there was more information on those. It looks like they don't have information on it yet. But like you can either do that or you can go to a challenge and qualify to challenge, or do the challenge qualifiers, sorry, and then do the challenge tournament and then make your way to what essentially is their continental. So kind of cool that you have two paths there, whereas we've only had you have to go to the DLC and qualify through that.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be interesting to see it run. It could serve as a model that they can. It's nice to see them test it out. It's a model that they could use in other markets later. So it's kind of fun to see them trying something different. But I agree, Rebekah. It probably leads to this World's not only given the championship promos, but then just the speed at which they're executing. I mean, announcing this now and then saying this is happening in March is fast. And I think the proximate cause for that is probably
what, like 2-3 weeks, 3 weeks away.
Yeah. Crazy. So that was, I think, the other big piece of news that came out today. So it'll be fun to follow along. I do hope that it's streamed and we get to watch at least some version or some of these tournaments. At the very least, the simplified Chinese championship tournament, because it'd be fun.
Yeah.
As Jacob from Ready Set Draw said, a little time capsule for us too. So there's that. With that, I gotta call it. Even though Aaron showed up, we have some great questions in the chat. One about Juniors League, but we can't dive into that because that'd be a huge. We've already kept our guests
with this group.
I was gonna say, great topic for a full episode another time.
So I just want to say, in case you missed it before, I'm going to do my wrap and then quickly ask our guests how folks can follow you. But first, once again, shout out to. It makes me happy. I almost cried. Our very first Patreon supporter, Scott Goodrich. Yeah, look at that. It's a thing. So I'll post one more link to the brand new Patreon that, again, I hope we can keep up with in the chat. Nothing is paywalled as far as Lorcana content, but it's a fun little thing and help you connect with us. I don't know. All right. With that, Rebekah, thanks for hanging out this whole stream. How can people follow you?
Thanks. Mostly I'm over on Instagram, Rebekah Quest, just like it's spelled here in the corner. That's me.
And you should.
That's it.
That's it.
that was all.
Go do it.
The best short form content creator and advocate for social play and the community. So definitely, if people aren't following you, I don't know what rock they've been living under. Unless they're not on Instagram, I guess.
That would be a particular.
That would be the rock.
Yeah,
that
would be that rock.
The rock they're ignoring. Anyway, Speedy, thanks for joining us. I know you don't do a lot of socials, but how can people connect with you and the other rules experts and keep up with what you're doing?
I don't do a lot of social media engagement. Like I never bothered with the Bluebird and what it became or Instagram or anything. But I mean, generally speaking, pick a major Lorcana Discord and type @Speedy and you will find me. I'm a mod in 20 Lore. I'm a mod in the TIA server. I'm a mod and I'm a community manager in the Ink Thieves and Maelstrom. And we have our own community as well. If you're not in it, you should check it out. It's Lorcana Rulebook Hub. It's a server I created along with a lot of the rules advisors, the best and smartest minds about Disney Lorcana in the world that I have access to. Googly being one of them. We have head judges from multiple DLCs in there. It's a really great and intelligent group. We, like I said, we try and build advocacy. So like that's kind of like my home base, but I'm all over the place, engaging in Lorcana discussions on Discord or making sure people aren't being bad Illumineers when it's necessary. Fortunately, it's not necessary that often, unless it's Brandon. But yeah, just pick a Discord, type @Speedy, and I'll probably say hi just as soon as I get through all the other notifications I have. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. I will make sure to post links in the show notes on YouTube, and I don't think that's a thing on Twitter, but on YouTube you'll get the links to the Discord server and to Rebekah's profile, obviously, as if you need it. Brandon, before we close up, good show. What do we miss?
I think we hit everything. We almost forgot the Chinese news, so shout out to Caroline for reminding us about that.
What I'm here for.
Yeah.
Overall, great show. I have to thank the guests again for coming on. We love having you guys. Hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah. I always say, we have guests because they're all smarter than us. So it's always better to invite people in who know what they're talking about, so then we can sound or look smart by association. Aaron, before we sign off, yeah.
I'm excited to watch the show.
Aaron's gonna go back and watch it right now.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And then I will let you know if I have thoughts afterwards.
Yeah. We're gonna.
You both. I think at this point you both need to use the sleep.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Use the sleep.
Well, thanks again, everybody. It was a fun show. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next Monday at 8 after the release of Archazia's Island, and can't wait to chat about release weekend.